Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. Here we are. It is game day 6, 17, and 18, and we're in a very interesting game. CSK playing the Delhi Capitals in Chepauk. And wow, CSK batting first in conditions of dew are actually ahead. And that, to me, is like music for my ears because I never quite expected. I thought the way Pathum Nisanka and KL Rahul were starting the power play, I thought DC was going to win it in 16 overs. But that's not the case yet. The game is still on, it's still pretty even. Joining me today is Neerav, and we have Deepak who should join us in a little bit. But for now, how's the game been, Neerav? And both of us are twinning in red.
Yeah, I mean,
Which way?
I seem to think CSK has it at this point. 59 of 26 with another gentleman who wasn't trusted with the bat last time, Kuldeep Yadav having just joined. Um, so yeah, so now it's over to. I mean, it's back to the similar situation that they had last time. One established batsman has to finish it with the tail. One way or the other, they need to figure it out. Having said that, I think Tristan Stubbs, I, I don't know who's, maybe it was a Jared Kimber podcast that I was seeing, that he has an ability of 18, 19, 20, very Dhoni-esque in that sense, that he actually takes it very deep and then delivers more often than not. So overs 18, 19, and 20 are generally his territory, which is why he's earned a reputation. And I think either in the either in the qualifier or the final of the SA20, if I remember, he did a similar thing. He single-handedly took his team, which is whichever that team was,
Pretoria
Sunrisers.
Capitals.
No, Sunrisers.
He plays for Sunrisers then, okay.
He took them home. In fact, in the final, yeah, it's probably the first qualifier or whatever it's called. Yeah, qualifier one.
Yeah,
So he
but
did
given
that.
the
So he is all that I think DC have. 37 of 26 they need another 57 of 24, and strategic timeout.
Yeah, 54 of 24 was exactly how the earlier game in the week unfolded, with Mukesh Chaudhary making a name for himself from that position, where he was the last
Mukul.
recognized batter. Sorry, Mukul Chaudhary. I said
Yeah.
Mukesh Chaudhary, yeah.
They're coming
Mukul
thick and
Chaudhary,
fast when you can't remember their names. It is tough.
quite,
Every day.
quite a lot of Indian domestic talent coming through the ranks.
Yeah,
And a
today I
similar
think how many made the debut today? Today Gurjapneet
Gurjapneet. I've heard
and
that
for
Gurjapneet is a
Sunrisers.
very odd Punjabi name. It's either uh,
Um,
I just heard this in an evening conversation that
hmm,
either the mother wanted Gurpreet or Japneet.
okay,
But,
okay.
so otherwise Gurjapneet is a very very rare Punjabi name. So it looks
Is
like
this Ian
Gurjapneet.
Bishop's
No, Ian
homework?
Bishop
If it
is
is,
not
then
Ian.
believe it.
No, I had a Punjabi friend with whom I was having this conversation, and she was mentioning that it's a very odd name for a
Yeah, I
Punjabi
know.
bowler.
I've never heard. It's an odd Punjabi name. I've lived in the north for most of my life. I've not heard of this name before. Uh,
And the fun fact is,
yeah,
Gurjapneet actually plays for Tamil Nadu. He's been playing with the age of from the age of 17. And we have our first comment. Somebody saying rerun of LSG KKR with Stubbs playing Mukul. See, everybody's recency bias goes to Mukul.
reference point. Yeah.
Reference point. But it was a good catch to get Akib Nabi out some time back when that to me to see the way it was
And
held.
so now it's certified that
Oh, so
David
Trinay
Miller did
joins us. Trinay is joining us from the
from
Chepauk
the
Stadium. Hi,
stadium.
Trinay. So I don't
Don't
think
tell
his
us the
audio.
score. Yeah, his network is
Yeah,
probably very poor.
it's a little tough to get that network from the stadium. But right now he's in
Until the match
freeze
is
mode.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Kuldeep Yadav has um, given a point to consider to David Miller. He's 2 of 2 balls, so he's let his teammates know that 1 of 1 I can do.
Right. That's an interesting
That's
thing to say. But I think it's surprising that once again, I think there are two Trinays joining here.
Trina. Trina has come in stereo.
Yeah.
Hey Trina, you feeling
Two
confident
points,
that you
yes, 2
can?
points. 2 points, 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points in the bag.
Yeah. In the bag, in the bag.
In the bag.
People started getting
You
scared
have
of asking him because
you
he's a
have
nature
no
from
faith,
batsman.
no faith on Tristan Stubbs.
He
No
does
faith.
not really well.
I don't think your audio is coming through very clearly, but it's good that you've been able to take a headphone inside Chepauk. I've never been able to do that.
You're not allowed to. I-
Okay,
That's the
I
fun
don't
we're
know
trying.
I don't know how far back I am, but I just got a 4 and a 6 of for Tristan Stubbs. Um,
I
so
think we're
back to
three
back.
levels of yeah. So Trinay is
I'm
on the
assuming we are
ground.
at
So
least
he's
10 seconds behind
yes,
Trinay.
and I'm in the 16th over on my stream.
Okay, you just refresh it or fast forward it. It happens to me
It's
many
the
times,
play.
right?
It's playing
Okay.
on TV.
Achha, it's a TV thing, or is it
It's a
a
TV
stream?
thing. No, it's a
I'm
oh
at
sorry.
16.5. What are you guys?
I'm at
I'm at
16.4 has finished.
I'm at 15.5, 156 for 7,
So
57
I'm
to win of 24.
so I'm one ball behind Trinay, and you're 4 balls behind. 15 point
So
something. Oh
Tristan,
wow,
yeah. So
you're quite a
Tristan,
bit behind.
so Jamie Overton has actually done a great job for CSK
He has,
because
he
CSK
has.
was feeling that pinch where you're not getting a good middle overs bowler. But this has been even if CSK God forbid loses this game, I think they've put in a very honest performance. Despite the fact that there are certain things that are still not aligning for CSK, I think it's been an honest performance. 210 for two. They've been sorry 212 for two. So that way, I think they've been able to uh, get out there and score these runs which were not coming in the first three games. So it's a very decent effort from CSK and from a bowling standpoint also. After being hit for 60 runs in the power play, I like the way CSK came back and they took four quick wickets to have Delhi at 74, 76 for four. So it's even if they lose, I'm just happy that they're fighting. So that's probably where I'm coming from.
Yeah, so I think
And
irrespective of the result, I think there are CSK did a few good things. One is of course change to allow Brevis to come in, and obviously he's fit, so he comes in straight away. And I think Akil as well, right? I think getting Akil into into the lineup allowed them to change the narrative of the power play, right? Um, to your point, that did well to restrict them to 60. I'm saying, given what's been happening around us the last couple of days, your commentary is leaking through your audio, by the way. Um,
me
Karthik,
or him?
yeah,
Okay.
Karthik, because you've got the TV on. Ah, your mic is picking up that. Anyway, so I'm saying, given what's been happening, 90, 95, 97, 100 in the power play for the last 3, 4 games, I think 60 for no loss is a job well done. Or was it? Did KL go in the sixth over? He did go in the sixth over, right?
TL went in, I think, yeah, end of
In the
fifth
sixth,
over, I think.
fifth over. Okay. So yeah, give or take power play. I mean, 7 overs, 7 or 8 overs, 75, 80 for 4 was a good job, right? I mean, I think they took the early initiative. Miller took time to get going, so that also kept the DC's scoring low. Having said that, DC never let it go beyond 12 and over. So at no point was the asking rate flashed on the screen more than 12 till the 15th over where it said 60 of 30 balls. So
I
right
think
now
12
it's
and over is
42.
yeah, 12 and over is what, two a ball, and that's essentially two boundary scoring shots per over. So that
It's
way, I
par.
think,
12 and over nowadays is par, I think.
and I think right
In
now
a,
they're
in a
42.
chase, it is far. But the last CSK never let them do it. They didn't have only 20 and over. But they never considered it 20 and over, which was, excessive. They always kept them in a check. After it's far, if you keep chipping away, taking wickets, the bowling strike always in the game, which is what CSK were. They took wickets out of nowhere, didn't they? The overton with
Are you able
Jason
to
Miller
hear him?
and all that.
Are you able to hear him?
I mean, I can hear that he's saying something, but it's very
Exactly.
muffled and muddled. Couldn't make out your point, what your point was. I think it's got to do with the low internet and lagging. Everything
Definitely.
is
Yeah,
lagging over.
that's the bummer part
Yes.
of, but again, 10 on 10 for effort. Thanks for,
Yeah.
otherwise
And
trying to do this. But my suggestion is just hold on for a bit. I don't think your internet is very strong there.
I think wait
So
for the match to get over. Yeah, I think
I think as soon as
because
people start leaving, you can then
yeah,
join in.
they also have jammers, right? To some extent, I think
Right?
certain parts of
They
it.
have jammers.
In most stadiums, they have jammers.
Most stadiums they
Um,
have jammers. I keep going to so many games. So yeah.
so do you have a Geo Wi-Fi in that stadium? Because that's what generally some stadiums have now started. Uh,
It used to happen in the 2023 World Cup. The last time I used the Geo Wi-Fi was the India-England semi-final at Wankhede in the T20 World Cup. But I haven't been to any of the
okay,
games at the IPL yet.
you might want to see what's going on, Trinay, because ever since you turned your back to the your team, they have started bowling and fielding terribly.
38 of 15. That's very average fielding, I think, by Anshul Kamboj.
No, it was Noor Ahmed.
No, okay.
Yeah, and for a spinner not to predict that it'll ball will spin, uh, fair enough. Um, so yeah, what do I have now? So Steve Vai is also banking the 2 points already. Um, yeah, I think just 38 or 15. Just let it breathe a bit, guys. You need stubs out
Yeah,
before you make it. You celebrate the 2 points. Yep. So
yeah.
as I just mentioned before you joined, Stubbs record overs 18, 19, 20 is on par with Dhoni. Uh, his strike rate and his number of runs and his number of boundaries, everything. Um, there is a there is a podcast by Jared which talked about how bad Dhoni's general T20 strike rate is through the first 17 overs, and in that they mentioned him. He's on par with Stubbs, ahead of Miller and ahead of some other people who've got that typical finisher role
I
in
think
the
it's no. I think that's what you need as a T20 finisher, right? Incredibly high
yeah.
strike rate and like a fairly low
in
dot ball percentage.
in the I mean in 18, 19, 20.
Correct, correct. And I think that I think I've seen this in IPL 2024. That was probably though in 2024 he played that World Cup final against India and Barbados. He got out quickly, but I think 2024 IPL is probably where he made that name as like a big
Name for
finisher.
himself. Finisher.
250 odd strike rate in that particular thing. And you said I think even 2024 and 2026 highest impact batter in the final 3 overs, striking at 200 plus, especially
Yeah.
while facing pace. So it'll be interesting to see how CSK bowl at Stubbs. Kamboj is bowling the 18th over. So I'm just curious to look at what are your options for the 19th and 20th, and is it going to be right down his alley to score those runs? CSK has like 1 over of Overton left, 1 over of Noor. I think Noor is probably done. They're not going to bowl a spin.
32 of 12 as we go into
Yeah, so those
the
two
end of the
overs,
evening.
I'm thinking it'll be one of Khalil and one of Jimmy Overton. They might
Overton
not.
is done, no? Isn't Overton
Overton's
done?
only Overton's bowled 3 overs for
3
15.
overs. Yeah, it'll have to be Overton. I think those the matchup is favorable for Stubbs because
So
Jamie Overton's
Overton's
best
bowling this
skill
over,
is
guys. He's bowling the penultimate.
Overton's.
If he's
Thanks
bowling
for
the
the
19th,
advance information ahead of our stream. I'm still on the ad. Yeah, so I think the matchup is in Stubbs' favor because Stubbs likes it short. So, and that is Overton's go-to length. So let's see.
and he was also
Let's
South
can we
Africa's
see.
more reliable finisher in the T20 World Cup, right? He had this 44 of 24 balls. I remember I went for a game in Ahmedabad, and it was
Yeah.
Tristan Stubbs who actually made that total to go to 187. Most of the damage coming against, I think, Hardik Pandya and somebody else, I think Ashdeep, who bowled the 18th and 19th over. So, given that there is pace, I don't know if Overton there is pace, and I'm kind of worried what's going to happen. But yes, he's one of the best finishers around, and
And he has strike. Kuldeep's
and
doing
he
his
has
job
strike.
at 4 runs of 4 balls, including a leg by there.
But it's what a
Um,
transition. If Delhi goes on to lose this game, they were doing very well in this tournament. And all of a sudden, we're seeing Delhi, just because of that one indecision by David Miller to not trust Kuldeep Yadav, where are they finding themselves now? 2 losses. This was a team that was starting to peak, starting to do well. Because Delhi's, I don't, I mean, sometimes I keep questioning myself, like, does Delhi even have fans? Because it's not won a
yes, they
tournament.
do. They do. So I used to be a Delhi Daredevils fan back till 2012, 13. All my hair, which I've lost since over those years, was largely because why are you making people bat in strange positions? Because the year Chris Morris was in form, he was batting at number 9. The year, so they would do these kind of things, right? So they had always got their selection wrong. They always got their batting orders wrong. And for a team which had
Wait,
incredible strength,
he's saying something. What is he saying, Trinay? Were you saying you're on mute?
nobody.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh,
That's
So yeah,
brilliant. Not only
I've been, because some of my favorite players have played for that Delhi team over the years. I used to really like Virender Sehwag in the early days. Maybe De Villiers started there. So yeah, so I used to be the fan, and in 2019 I worked with the year they turned to 20, to DC, and I
right.
built a fandom for Shreyas Iyer that year. So I actually appointed myself as chairman and lifetime president of the Shreyas Iyer fan
Really
club.
nice.
Uh, he's moved to Punjab, so my loyalties in that context have shifted.
Same
But
here. I traveled all the way.
I
Uh,
like the Delhi team. I like every year they do something interesting. I didn't like the phase where Pant was captain because I thought
right.
there was a lot of muddled thinking in that period, those 2 3 years. I think this breed which came in last year with Akshar as captain and you know
And
has
do you think
now, and I
also
think
having an
they've
Indian
got,
coach or a setup, like for
yeah.
example, you've been with Gujarat Titans where Nehra was, leading the setup. Here you have Hemang Badani, Venugopal Rao, people who have, been in the Indian cricket setup, but, you know, not really extremely famous cricketers. I think someone's out. I see Trinay celebrating. So I'm assuming that CSK has got closer to
I'm
two
assuming it has
points.
to be Stubbs because I'm watching the ball before it and Stubbs is out. Yeah, I mean it is
The
Stubbs
way
also.
It is not the whole place was right. Yeah. Sorry for the problem.
So yeah, so now Steve Bhai, you can celebrate.
Yes, Tristan Stubbs goes, and that's now very interesting. I'm also waiting to see the replay of how he's got out. But I think this is a chase that was in Delhi's arc, and they've just chosen to botch it down. And
Lost
yeah,
too many wickets,
CSK
I think. Yeah,
and lost too many wickets in those middle overs. I think this is
six.
probably where having somebody like KL Rahul, like this is the importance that somebody like Jadeja brought. Jadeja could have, also go play, played a shot after you saw Vaibhav Suryavanshi batting. But Jadeja scored 21 of 22, gave them that stability. Always 2 points in the bag is better than trying to go for net run rate and scoring, those winning runs much
No,
earlier.
but was it a net run rate issue? Because they were always needing to be 11, 12 and over, and at 78 for four or whatever it was, there was still a 140 odd to win, right? So,
So my point was on, like for example, no, there were always 2 runs
and I
a
think
ball, that was there. I'm saying
thereabout.
somebody like KL Rahul last game 92 or 52 balls. If he's going to bat around the innings, right, and plays 50 balls, somehow DC will get closer because they have the batting. Somebody else can accelerate at the end. So like Jadeja played that 21 or 22, KL is like the most ideal, especially if a chase is not within, it is completely within your reach. And yeah, at about 10 runs an over, which is the primary chase, I think DC had a chance and they were going well at 60 in the power play. How much is that? This is 150 runs required in 15 overs. You're still going at 10 an over required.
Yeah.
And this is where a senior player like KL should have probably, I know we are underplaying the role of an anchor, but especially in a side like
But
this, they were on
you
a winning
know,
streak.
but the thing is, he got out to a shot he mistimed, right? If he had
Correct.
timed it, that was 4 or 6. So you can't really blame KL Rahul for getting out the first wicket. What followed, therefore, was a little bit of a strange set of dismissals because that Pathum Nusanka shot was a nothing shot. He tried to get out the ball before that, and then he had who else? I think Samir Rizvi also got done by a short one.
Right.
Who did they lose?
Caught in the boundary by
Out of
Brevis.
the boundary.
There is now.
That was three, and Akshar Patel got out to a perfectly fine shot and a great catch. Right. So these, I think it was a combination of bad luck in Akshar's and KL's case, and poor execution of a shot in Pathum Nisanka and Samir Rizvi's case, right? So they so that's four, suddenly is 4 wickets down. Then you kind of have to slow down, and I think that's when the and when Miller today just couldn't get going. And I think maybe the pressure of the last game perhaps paid on him. I don't know. I mean, I've never played in front of 25, 30, 40,000 opposition fans, so I wouldn't know how it feels to be. I'm sure people gave it to Miller, right? I mean, let him feel it in the crowd, right?
Overton had to play like Imran Khan for us to have a shot. Yeah, I think it was extremely important that somebody like Jamie Overton comes to the party. And despite us getting Deval Brevis, I don't think Brevis actually got in a got to face a ball, but
No.
there was some level of positivity that we had made these changes and getting Akil Hossain as your impact player. But I think Jamie
And I think
Overton's
Gurjapneet also was a good move. I think he's gone for a little bit too many today, but I like the look of him. In fact, if there is, I think he can. I think maybe Khalil should get a break at least from the new ball. I think today, after Akil bowled the first over, I think the next over should have gone to Anshul Kamboj because he's the one guy who can take a new ball wicket. Khalil can't, right? I mean, by swing. Um,
So I think it's a
so
very interesting point because Khalil has been going for runs at the death as well as in the power play, and CSK have now it looks like Akil Hossain, and Akil Hossain is like actually a very good power play bowler where he gets that drift inside, and that's how he bowls for the West Indies. So I'm happy to see CSK finally get some semblance of form, and this is very important because then see someone like Jamie Overton had 13 dot balls today, 4 for 18, especially
yeah,
10 and over chase. He's basically owned it. CSK needed their all rounders to come to fore, and Overton did well in the April 5th game against RCB too, with his batting. He could have nearly pulled it off,
he
but it didn't
he
happen.
batted well twice so far in the
Twice. Yeah.
two opportunities that he's had, and so Andy's point is, shouldn't you give a Khalil the first over? Khalil is not, according to me, is not a great swinger of the ball. So I would either give it to
I mean, your swing is
sorry, I was
if you're
just
not going with Matt Henry, I think it's a fair decision to go with Akil Hussain. And things were kept quiet. Like, for example, Akil Hussain bowled two no balls in that first over, and still Akil Hussain did not, I think twice there was this thing where he
8 runs
overstepped.
despite
Ah,
yeah, just 8 runs.
I can see Nitish Rana fighting with the umpire. What was that about?
Come on, Trine, get down to the dugout and figure it out.
I generally see
Oh,
this rush of blood with youngsters from Delhi because I've seen Nitish
Nitish is
Rana.
like 40 years old. What do you mean, youngsters?
I've seen this with like I think a couple of cricketers from Delhi who've had this anger when you go and play with the umpire or referee when you're not happy with a certain verdict. And we've seen this thing I think with Nitish Rana and Digvijay Rathi sometime back in one of the Delhi Premier League games where both of them almost went to teasing each other or almost at blows with each other. But yeah, Nitish Rana has not quite got a game for the Delhi Capitals.
today he wasn't part of the squad. I mean, he wasn't.
Deservedly.
I think with Samir Rizvi, I think we had spoken about it right earlier on the podcast. Now, should Nitish Rana make way for somebody else in the side? And that was our question, I think, in the last DC game. So I think they've
I mean,
rightly
it hasn't
gone.
paid off today, but you have to give any. You have to give it again. Samir Rizvi at number 3. You have to give it another couple of games.
Yeah, I think they've moved. Everyone's moved a spot up. Aksar instead of, I think was batting at 5, he's batting at 4 now. And you've now got Ashutosh Sharma coming in.
I think the other option was, instead of Akshar, they could have, rather than Ashutosh, brought in a Karun Nair at number 4. That was an option.
It's his known entity. And that's what we
Yeah,
spoke last time also, yeah.
yeah. I always back experience uh, to, in a pressure situation. Karun Nair's got a bit more experience, 10 more seasons perhaps.
It wasn't a pressure situation. It was, they were scared. They just needed somebody to carry on.
Samir Rizvi, 27 of 3 balls. So this is great. I'm happy to see CSK get their first points. A league like IPL needs all teams to actually be up on the points table so that it's close and people are also watching the IPL. I think this will also now mean that no more are people going to come and put messages on groups saying, "Hey, I have 2 tickets today at MRP or less than MRP. Please take it." So those are the messages I got this morning on the Long Rope Army group, where there were at least 5 or 6 tickets. People didn't want to go for the CSK game, and even I had an option. I was in Chennai this morning, and I didn't go for the CSK game. My fear was largely around the fact that I'm not sure I could handle the Chennai summer heat. But Trinay being somebody from
Youth,
Chennai,
youth.
youth can of course handle all of that.
Okay, so this becomes our talking point now. Suddenly, as you said, DC from a, I mean, for all 4 games they should have won and could have won. to now, for lack of a better term, shitting the bed, right? Um,
Yeah, and suddenly, like Ajay sir, right? That one moment, Delhi before David Miller and Kuldeep Yadav, and Delhi after David Miller and Kuldeep Yadav, they've lost two games. I mean, I'm assuming they've lost because 27 of 3 is definitely not something they can chase that down. It's
but
26 to
having said
3.
that, 4 games, 4 points, most teams would take it, because that effectively means at the end of, if you go on this curve, then at 14 games you get 14
14
points,
points. So you
right?
need
So
60
it's
points.
a plus minus one game, which could,
Right,
you know, there have been cases of teams winning 7 out of 7 and then losing 7 out of 7 also, right? So you
right,
form is, as long as they stay in the thing, and then, so what will happen is that if they are meant to be champions, this is what they will resolve very fast. The
right.
games which they may get outclassed in games, but the games which they should win, I feel, that's what champions and teams do. That's what RCB did last year, right? There was no, and that was what RR didn't do last year. You follow what I'm saying? Those nail biting finishes, are they
Right.
going in your, are they consistently, in 5 scenarios, are you winning 4 on 5, or are you losing 4 on 5, or right? So that is what or even so in RCB's case last year, it was win 5 of 5, all those nail biting games they won, and RR didn't, and that is the difference between, the positions on the table.
And it's interesting
See,
because
but
this
a team
time,
like KKR should not be losing to a team like DC shouldn't be losing to KKR and Chennai under 5 minutes. Yeah, so they're going to be going up against the MIs. I mean, the
No, so
better
the
teams
things
are.
like toss, due, all these variables do come in.
absolutely.
So you never know what happens on certain games. So I think it's not like they were outclassed in this game, right? I don't think CSK put up overpowered total. I don't think so.
Didn't
I
CSK
don't. I
is
think
winning this because of Delhi's ineptitude. Because
yes,
Delhi had the game.
Delhi
CSK
had
is
those 4 wickets in three overs. So yeah,
right.
but I mean,
And it was a game that Delhi had to lose. And CSK has just done what is an under par batting total. For the bowling attack they have, they needed a 240 against Delhi. If Delhi
but
played to
today
their
the
strengths,
bowlers over delivered, which we haven't seen
yes,
so far.
bowlers over
I
delivered,
mean,
and that
4 for
CSK's
18
bowlers.
from Jamie Overton, man, that is like probably, on stats, that is the best bowling performance of the
And
tournament.
that's a very interesting point being made by Andy. He says all these years of spin choking teams at Chepauk, it's very unsettling for a CSK fan to see CSK bounce other teams out. So that is true, and you
As
saw
a
the way
CSK fan, I
was
would take it. I would take it personally. I would take it. At least we have one bowler who can bounce teams out.
Well, they have
one.
Jimmy Overton has pace, but today he got it right today. Um,
What I mean, it's finally
so
I'm
therefore,
happy to see.
red ball suits CSK's current squad better than, sorry, red soil. Is that
I
a
was like,
fair?
what? I was like, are
Uh,
they introducing the red ball in the IPL?
uh,
No, right?
so red soil suits CSK's current setup more than because they both ways, right? The batting needs that bounce and pace, and the bowlers need that bounce and pace. They're not getting, they're not delivering on the stop and low bounce and turn and those kind of things. Is that a fair
No, I think
assessment?
it's a fair comment, and CSK needed this
Have
kind
I
of
become a
confidence.
cricket specialist? Analytics. I got.
See, we are essentially what we are advanced. We are fans, and that's where I think the whole point of our show. People are also watching us because we are talking only fans as a fan, but as a fan, we're talking things that uh, a team management would otherwise want to discuss.
Yeah.
Though we may not know how many grains in the bat you should have, or whether you should do a front foot drive. That's not the technicalities that we are talking with. As fans, what are the macro issues that we can potentially address? And that said, as a CSK fan, I'm so happy tonight. We needed that
Yeah.
win. Two
Some
win. I
good
mean, we had a
selections today. Some good
good
selections
selection.
today. Some tactically good things. I fully agree with the decision to take Ayush Matre out, because post 35-40, his strike rate was going down. So I think, um, he wasn't able to get the sixes after a certain point. Maybe the heat. In fact, I felt Sanju's strike rate was also going downhill post about 70 of 32, 33. Like, so he ended up okay because I think he got a 6 and 4 in the end. But
Right.
I think the heat took its toll, right? The heat
It
really
does.
did
I
it.
mean, That's exactly why I didn't go to CSK, but sorry, I didn't go to Chepauk today, because I know the amount of heat that is there in April, May. You just sweat buckets there, and it's not easy to get water. But yeah, CSK is won by 23 runs today. That makes them ninth on the points table, and Kolkata is now 10th on the points table. So as a CSK fan at this stage of life, I'm just happy that we're not 10th. So after that,
So
finished
yeah, so
every.
history is intact. Never before has a power from Delhi come and overthrown the kings in the south, right? South of the Vindhyas. So that's
So
happened today as well. So yeah, so coming to Andy's and welcoming Deepak. Deepak, hi. Finally, maybe some. So both of you not wearing CSK, or none, three of you not wearing CSK jerseys today, right? So I'm saying for the superstitious side of fandom, I will say stick to it.
yeah, I
This
think
is
that's
what has
how.
worked. This
If
is
this is
what is
what
working.
works, I'm gonna wear a red shirt for every CSK game now. If that's all it takes for CSK to win,
Whatever it takes.
whatever it
Yellow shirt,
takes.
wear your CSK jersey on an RCB game.
I
Yeah,
got
I
that.
can wear a black shirt for the remaining games. I think it it's
Fair
symbolic.
Wow, I
Yeah, so
love
thought
how we know to crack. What's required for
exactly.
CSK to win. We thought selections were the problem, but it's just in our fans, it's in our own hands now.
At
We
some
just
point, you
have.
have to believe that, right? As kids, didn't you believe these things? At
I
some
did, I
point,
did,
like I don't.
obviously.
I still
I
do.
actually
I
thought.
still believe these things.
It is me. It's not them. They are just batting and bowling, but we are controlling the universe
I
with
in
our
fact thought a
actions.
good game of book cricket before the game, and if I'm getting some good pages 6 and 8, then it means I'm going to win that game. I mean, India is going to win that game. I used to practice the match before the actual match by playing book cricket, and that was my good luck charm to think, okay, my team could win. But yeah, that's a 90s kid. We're just seeing Kasi Mama and Rupa Gurunath being very happy. They're shaking hands. Good to see CSK back on the points table.
Finally on the points table. So how they won their last game last season, or no?
They won, I think, the last game versus Kolkata or Gujarat
So
Titans. They
it's
won against
it's not
Gujarat
a.
Titans.
So it's only a 3-run drought, a 3-match drought.
It's only a three-match drought because they upstaged Gujarat Titans and Gujarat Titans never qualified as a result of that.
Hmm. Qualified fourth, yeah. Otherwise, they were topping the table.
I have a bigger question to the larger group since Deepak has just joined. Deepak, what do you think about Ruturaj Gaikwad as an opener, as a captain?
Since you
Yeah, I
put him on
mean,
the spot, I'm going to zoom in up.
yeah. See, as a opener, I think there's not much left to say. I think he played what I thought was going to be a match-losing innings today, but somehow he survived and somehow we won. Otherwise, that could have been a very, very bad knock. Probably the worst knock of the tournament so far, especially coming from an opener. So as a batsman, while he's done his part in the previous season, he's yet to prove himself this season. I think it's been a pretty disappointing tournament for him. As a captain, he's done okay today. Today was the first game where he did not make mistakes, and I'll put it very bluntly that he did not make any obvious mistakes, while he did quite a few of those mistakes in the previous games. And what that means is that his plan A is worked really well today. So whatever we needed, whatever we had, like if you had a spread of bowlers, if you had like right from the starting, right? If you think about it, if CSK had lost more wickets, they might not have been able to bring in Akil Hussain, right? They might have had to bring in a batter who could actually contribute there. And so right from there, the plan A worked, and that continued to work during the bowling as well. Since I think even though we got hit in the first 4 to 5 overs, we were actually able to get back into the game. And that split of bringing in Kamboj into the power play after Khalil and then bringing in Overton right after that and bringing Buran right after that. This is pretty much a template story, right? And the template story actually worked. And you kind of judge a captain when your plan A does not work. You kind of judge a captain when that goes haywire and he gets hit. And how do you adapt? How do you improvise? So we've not yet seen that side of Ruturaj yet as of today. But what we've seen is that he's been able to execute that plan A pretty well today with the bowling attack when we've had the right set of bowlers that we picked. We're yet to see what happens when that goes bad. So in one of the upcoming games, is going to go bad for sure. So we'll wait to see what Hitran does at that point.
That's an interesting point. Judging a captain on today was like a plan A, everything worked, and then We have seen certain things not work. Ruturaj not got those kind of games, especially the games versus RCB or against Rajasthan Royals. We were always under the pump, and against Punjab, we were just happy that we took the game till the 18th, 19th over. That was the happiness. And even today, I was readying myself saying, okay, our net run rate will slowly come down if we have these 19th over finishes that we're losing, so that when it comes to our ninth and 10th position, we are above the 10th position. But today we're above the 10th position with a win on the table. Nothing more happy for a CSK fan. But I still think that for us to have better days, we need to be an above par team. We were an above par bowling team today. We need to be an above par batting team. And for that, to me, I'm not yet sure Ruturaj Gaikwad as a batter, because I'm thinking in terms of
So
the
just
resources
simple
we have.
maths. In simple maths, if you take away Rituraj's contribution today, CSK was effectively 200 of 17 overs, right? If you take away, what was it,
More of
15 of
17
18 balls?
overs.
15 of 18 balls, 15 of 20 balls, that was what he did, right? So
These were
at that,
and when were these 18
and
balls?
therefore
These
you look
18
at,
balls were the power play.
yeah,
18
so
balls in
therefore
the
you look
power
at,
play were
so 200 of 17 overs, you're looking at 240, correct? Most
easily,
teams would.
easily.
So
And that's all CSK
No,
needs
no.
to be an
See,
above par
I
team.
Gaikwad has been our best batsman for the last 5 years. There's no one really. He's been probably top five, top seven IPL batsman as well. He's won an orange cap, and I think we're being a little bit too harsh on him because if y'all are forgetting, Nitish Rana played the same knock a couple of games ago, and nobody really lashed out at him the way they're lashing out at Gaikwad. We obviously expect more from Gaikwad, but a player of that quality, of that caliber, don't you think we should be giving him a little more time to, get to form? Fortunately for us, Samson seems to perform, so is Matre. Let them cover for him for a bit, and I'm sure he'll be back by the halfway point of the
See,
season.
I
Isn't
have
he?
all the time for him. I don't disagree with you that he's been the best batsman for CSK for the last 4 to 5 years. I have all the time for him, but you cannot be playing match losing innings, right? He also played 28 of 22 a couple of games back, right? It was again a very bad knock on that day, I would say, when everybody was going at like double the strike rate. Everyone was going at like 150, 170. He played 28 of 22 that day. And I don't think he really understands what role he has to play today or what role he has to play for CSK in the current scenario because he did not even attack today. By the way, he scored a 15 of 18 with 100% control until the end of the power play. That basically means that he did not even attempt the shots, right? He's not attempting the shot. He's picking a role that is fundamentally incorrect for him. That is fundamentally incorrect for the team. If you're playing a 15 of 18 balls or 15 or 17 balls in the power play with 100% control, it means that you've basically taken the choice to step back, which is a really, really bad move for the team. So that's the part he needs to correct and needs to correct it really soon. Uh, it's not about him or his talent as a batsman, it's about the choice that he's making for himself. And that is a really bad choice at the moment.
so
See, again on
as a
Gaikwad,
non,
last match as well as this match, he just tapped singles to Matre or in this case Samson, whoever was at the other end and who was scoring runs. Again, like Deepak said, he didn't try to attack. He wasn't actively going after the bowlers. He was looking for the safer options to score runs like ODI batting. When Akshar came on, he scored two boundaries off of him, but both were on the ground. And he played a couple of cover drives that didn't go anywhere. So I don't know if it's a confidence thing or like Deepak said, if it was something to do with his role or what role he shows himself. But yeah, it is a confusing spot or a rut for him.
so I have a
See, today
take.
DC also messed up. So if sorry, yeah, I'll just finish my point.
Yeah,
DC
yeah.
messed up in a couple of ways as well, right? If DC had gotten off to a flyer, they did get off to a flyer, but I think they messed up by not bringing in somebody like an Abhishek Porel into that 11, putting him at number three and keep going, right? So they brought in Samir Ritu, they brought in Akshar Patel. They're not batting a spot above, right? They're batting a spot too high, and you shouldn't be batting Rizvi at three and Akshar Patel at four. And if they had an Abhishek Porel today who could have kept the momentum going, they might have gotten to this point, like they might have actually been able to extend that batting order and get to a more decent point today. I feel like they missed a trick as well. And that actually helped us because, I mean, you are seeing all of these hundreds and 90s getting scored in the power play. And today, despite one batsman going hell for leather, which is Samson, and we still got to 61 for Novas at the end of the power play. That is not good enough on most days, right? So you need to be above par. You know what kind of a bowling attack you have. So you need to be at that 75, 80 mark. And this kind of approach does not cut it. Yeah, need a goal. Yeah.
No, so I was saying a little before you joined, we discussed the fact that red soil pitch is good for CSK for their batting power play as well as for the bowling, right? I mean, all the CSK's top 4-5 like it coming on, right? Don't like the stop and low bounce kind of variable bounce kind of pitches. So in this scenario, you, CSK's objective should have been 70-80 in the power play, right? And I think um, because also see what's happening is, yes, Ruturaj Gaikwad is an outstanding batsman. He's an outstanding batsman for cricket which was played 21, 22, 23, 24, which were his great years. Last year he didn't play, and he's come back to an IPL where the game has changed, because anybody who's in contention is averaging 80 in the power play, right? So there are days they are getting 100 and they're 90, and then the bad days they're getting 60 for one, right? So I think the game has changed for the champion contender teams, right? Because you'll see the top 4-5 all have had those, and which is why DC, because they failed to do that in the last, especially today and even one game before, they are sliding down, because even though they had a great start to the tournament, they're not able to get to the point, but where, and teams like KKR and whoever are not able to do that, score like at 200 strike rates upfront, are struggling in the points table. And MI has had that same issue, right? To some extent. I mean, they're not going at 200. They are at 60, 65 in a power play is not cutting it today. They flashed it, no? The last 4 games, what do we have? We have 100, we have 97, we have 95 yesterday. That's what the game has come down to, right? Because in Sunrisers case, 100 of the power play, and yet they got to only 220.
Correct.
Because back end things can change. Today, CSK managed to get away with it. There were a couple of dropped catches.
Quite a few.
Yeah, so I think, it worked out, but I think 210 was from where they were with 2 wickets lost. I think they were still under par. But I think it could have been a lot worse, because if Dubey didn't get cracking in the last couple of overs, Dubey and Sanju had it could have been a lot worse, because suddenly it looked like, okay, they're not even making 200 at one point.
See, they also don't have a bona fide finisher, right? But Jamie Overton, you could say, is that to an extent? No, you don't have a finisher, like bona fide proper finisher.
I think
What
what
is
you guys
Davis
are
Davis
getting
there?
scarred. I think what you guys are getting scarred.
Brevis is a spin basher down the middle. He isn't, like your Dhoni type finisher or Rinku Singh to an extent or Andreas.
No, he's going to finish if he has to, right? The Dubey was also a spin basher who's become a finisher today. So the fact is that there are guys. What is a finisher? Finisher is who can play at a strike rate of 200 plus, right?
A finisher is ideally a guy who strikes at 250, 300 and can bash any kind of pace, put it beyond. Dubey missed it a 6 and a couple of 4s today, and that's why his strike rate is 200. If you don't strike at 200 at the death, that means, there's no use.
Yeah, so
in this day and age, you should be at 250.
But today, what is the point that you're making? You're basically saying that the approach of not going hard enough at the top is okay because you don't have a finishing batsman? Is that what you're coming to right now?
No. Because you don't have a guy besides maybe Overton who can strike at 300 down back. So what I'm saying is you cannot. It's even worse for a team like us who cannot have Rutraj. Play Rutraj. Who's Rutraj playing the way he is? That's what I'm trying to say. When you don't have a finisher, either move Rutraj one down and have Matre and Thompson.
That role of finisher is going to be spread out, because today you had a number 4 batsman finishing, right? Because you lost only 2 wickets, so that will change. So I think there will be times when and most teams are in a position where 3 to 4 players are capable of finishing, right? In Punjab today,
we heard the big man Fleming tell us that the finisher role is no longer existent, and that everybody is just going to go through the batting lineup, right? So
I think so too, because
when your coach says that, then you gotta walk the talk.
Because see, Sarfaraz is in a position to be a finisher. He's been scoring at 200 plus. Jamie Overton, yes, can hit the big sixes and score at 200 plus. So can Duel Brevis, and I don't know who else is there in the, in the batting order today or whatever.
I think Overton's the only finisher we have. But again, you need to maximize the depth more than what they did the last couple of games.
I don't know. I think the definition of finisher is changing. It is going to be people who are capable of scoring 200 plus for a sustained period of time post overs. So the bottom line is last 5 overs, a minimum of 60 has to be scored, 60 to 70 minimum, bare minimum, right? Who all can do the job? There are 5 people in the CSK team who can do the job currently, right? So today was Sanju was a finish. Right? So it really depends on where you are and who's coming in at what point in the, there is no, I mean there is no specific defined roles, and you can't get away by saying I can only play spin or I can only play pace.
Right,
The
right.
other, the
Those
other
kind
way,
of dimensions are out.
I think that's a game which is gone now. Not with an impact player. Everybody has to be multi-skilled, capable of scoring on the offside, leg side, in front of the wicket, behind the wicket, vertical bat, horizontal bat. I mean, it's all your guys batting four onwards have to be in that position, and it has to
Did
be
we,
rotatable
did we see that
because
with Mukul and maybe Tewatia back then, where they are not hitters against spin, but they're hitters against pace?
I mean the thing is that if Tewatia was coming into the batting situation where he was facing spin bowling, he was not going for it because obviously they were in trouble, right?
Hmm.
So the stats will be
Obviously.
skewed, because if he's coming in early, he's typically waiting. These are guys. I mean, the Jared Kimmer's podcast had mentioned all these guys, including Andre Russell and all that, who are only scoring back end, right? They start getting into. I mean, they're one gear players till the 16th, 17th over, and then shift gears. Dhoni, Stubbs is in that category. Tewatia is in that category. To a large extent, Andre Russell was in that category, right? They if they are not coming up, I mean, if they are coming in earlier, let's say if Rahul Tewatia is batting in over number 8 with Noor Ahmed bowling, that team is in trouble. He's not going to take chances against the spinner, right? Because you're setting up yourself up, right?
Right. And I, in fact, saw a very interesting graph some time back. I had, put this on Twitter, where I was looking at how this whole heat map of your, heat map of over 1 to 20, in terms of the number of runs scored, has completely changed. It's become like orangish and red, even in the middle overs, which wasn't the case earlier. I'm just going to try and find that, but meanwhile, we'll probably get to another point here.
Yeah, let's go back to anything. I think there were a few good tactical things they did, including team selection. I think CSK did that well. I think Gurjapneet was definitely a plus. I don't know what his final figures were, but he has
Oh
the
no, he
One
was
for 39,
definitely a great selection.
yeah,
one
he
for
has the
39 and
skills.
4, yeah.
He has the skills,
100%.
and
Yeah.
I mean, but again, he has the skills on red ball because that back of length, digging it in, hitting the right hander under the arm. That's the length which will go for sixes in black soil. So there's a double-edged sword, right? So
No,
hopefully
he's
CS.
actually has his fair share of sort of slower balls as well. He's actually more popular for his slower balls back in the smack and in the TMPL, where he's bowled a fair share of them at the death. And he's been renowned for actually being able to execute that at the death. So I think he'll actually be okay even on a black soil pitch as well. What he needs to do is whether he needs to prove himself at this level, right? It's completely different to be able to execute something in the TMPL and have the same translate to the IPL because the same slower ball Tim David could just smack for 110 meters. It's just going to happen. It's just about whether he can transfer and translate the skills to this level. But he's got the skills. So I think he's actually someone who adds a little more variety to this attack compared to a Matt Henry or, I mean, let's not even talk about a Zach Folks, but definitely a Matt Henry or so. I think it's a better pick for sure. And Akil Hussain as well, I think was a positive coming out of today. He didn't bowl really well in the second. I don't know if he bowled a third over, but I think he was able to give a little bit of control in that first and second over, and we saw it. I think he'll get better from here as well.
Yeah.
He ends a little bit of balance. He lends a little bit of batting to the team. This was the right team to go with, so I think they've corrected themselves in that regard, and they've actually gone with a side that's much better than what they've gone in
They
the first
have they
couple of
have
games.
proper six proper bowling options.
Yeah. So that they got a little bit lucky because they went for the approach of not picking another batsman in the team and trying to improve that batting lineup. So they just got to like overturn at number 7 and decided, you know what, if at all we get past that, we'll bring in the additional batsman. Otherwise, we're going with Akil. It's not a bad approach, but it's not worked so far. Today it worked, so you had an Achilles sign. But if it did not work, you might have had a Prashant Veer batting in the middle, and he obviously is not bowled yet, so we don't know what would have happened after that. So they got fortunate with that. Uh, but yeah, ideally they should try and stick to a combination where they get enough bowling options as well, because that seems to be what is making the difference. Because today, under that amount of pressure that the batsmen were put under, so you got somebody like a Overton who could come in and deliver those hard length deliveries, and you also had your follow-up bowlers, even a Noor Ahmed, who could actually control the flow of runs because they were already 3 down, 4 down by the time he came in. So they were on the back foot by the time. And so far, whenever Noor Ahmed came in, they were already like you had two set batsmen who were firing on all cylinders, right? So this was a good change, and he, of course, didn't impress today either. But you at least have the opportunity of giving your bowlers a little bit of cushion. So definitely, this is the better approach.
Right. And just wanted to share a little bit of a heat map in terms of how the game has changed. I'm just going to put this here. This shows from 2008. So if you go, from vertical, that's the first year of the IPL, 2008, and then
Yeah.
you're down to 2025. As the years have gone and the horizontal is your overs 1 to 20, you're looking at a number of oranges and reds that have actually started coming into your overs. So
Just
there's essentially,
clarify, yellow and is 8.5 and above, right? Basically, that's the more. I mean, no, there's not a
yeah,
specific
yeah,
cutoff, but I'm trying to figure. Yeah, but the absolute blue green is
Thanda.
six.
Yeah,
No,
absolute blue green is basically thanda, correct? That is what
about
is it?
six.
Yeah,
So yeah. So you're saying basically, if you look at the right bottom, the the runs per over are getting warmer earlier on, right?
earlier
So
on, exactly. And there are
as
only three
earlier,
overs of greens actually. Your three overs are over 7, 8, and 9. Everything else has now completely changed where
so
you're
that
having more oranges
and
and
that so
reds.
the so 22 was the first impact player season, or 23 was the first impact
23 was the first season.
first impact.
Right.
Yeah, so there is a change 22 onwards, I feel. I don't know what was different that. Oh, I mean, okay, 22 was a year where they played it again in one pretty much one ground, right? I mean, or two grounds or whatever. So if that was a high scoring ground, wasn't 22 the last season where they played in the 2021 and 22, right? Where they played in 20, they still played in many stadiums in UAE.
Right? Ha, UAE.
2021, the first half was played in only Bombay
Yeah,
and Delhi, I
India,
think, and then it was,
correct.
but only in two grounds, right? If I remember correctly, there was
We
no
played,
public.
you played in Mumbai and Chennai. I remember Chennai had some games in
Uh,
21 and then they went Middle East.
yeah,
Um,
for the September's, like it got the truncated
right,
in May and then picked up again. Yeah, so 23 is the impact player. I mean, even the power play overs seeming to go for a lot more, right?
right.
And I'm keen to see 26 would have taken it
I'll have to
even in
put that
the,
out.
yeah,
So I did
hotter
that for
hotter
the
zone.
hotter zone. I did that only for about the
Nice, this
years
is
in which.
interesting.
So yeah, these
Yeah,
are
but
things
again,
that I.
this is data and numbers version of what we inherently know, right? 180 was a
Right.
damn good score in 2008. Um, and now 180 is you know not good enough.
Not at all. And you're now seeing the bar. RCB yesterday with the 118 for 7, they were still able to get to 200. But I knew that 200 is not going to cut the chase for them.
Sure.
They anyway ended up losing that game. But the whole point was they were still able to come to a point of respectability. They had to use the impact player so that their net run rate doesn't suffer. So today teams have that extra cushion so that the net run rate doesn't suffer. CSK has been piss poor in the first couple of games where they've just had very bad batting. They've not made use of the resources. Now is probably the time to. I'm sure they're going to be much happier that okay, one thing has worked, and then CSK is a kind of a side that grows in confidence over time. We may not be the calculator friendly side, but I think now is the time to start thinking how where can you play above par cricket, and that way tonight I'm going to feel happy going to sleep as a CSK fan in red.
Well, what do you guys think about the fact that neither of Prashant Veer or Karthik Sharma featured today, and that's 28 crores sitting on the bench in what seems to be the playing 12 that won us the game.
It happens, right? It happened even with Ben Stokes. 16 crores we got Ben Stokes for. Dhoni didn't use him for some of the games. And or
He
if we
was
use
injured, and then the team was already set by then, so we had a bunch of wins at that point. So CSK point of decided that let's not disturb the winning combination. This is not a winning combination, right? So they actively chose to bench the two players that they bought for a big price, and now that has become the winning combination. So it was not like they won in that scenario and then decided, okay, they're not going to disturb it. It's them finding out the right combination, which seems to be the one that does not have these two players, which is a very different thing, right? So, yeah,
I think one has to accept that those two decisions, in terms of is it the right price for those two people? Definitely not. I think CSK just
yeah.
went into that bidding war with Sunrisers, where there's so many other options, but CSK did not shop. I think they had a very very subpar auction, and they came out thinking they've at least got these two. I think yeah, if they had worked well on the auction, we needn't we wouldn't have got here. But I don't think we should allow the price tag of these 14 crore players to decide what our
100%.
level should be. We should pick whatever is the best combination that's required to win.
I feel bad for Deepak. I think we've shat on the auction strategy of CSK a few times. Every time he comes on, we come down to that being the cause of the failures. But see, my point
Like,
on this is
go ahead, yeah.
no. So my point on the rookies and these young kids coming in is that you've seen them perform in daytime and in random cricket grounds against fairly substandard opposition, etc. Right? And you've seen you go into the auction saying that these are my rookies which I'm going to bring on into my squad, and we will see in the nets. Maybe in the nets also they were performing well, right? In the match they don't, and there that happens. I yesterday we weren't there, Deepak, but we discussed the fact that why did Nitish Rana start the season ahead of Abhishek Porel, Karun Nair, multiple other options which DC had, is probably because they've seen that he's had a great domestic run, he's batting superbly in the nets, right? He's not able now. If that doesn't translate into the match, there's nothing much they can do about it beyond that. So you have to give that player a go, and I think that's what CSK did, saying that we've got these guys, there is talent, and in as much as what they did with Sunny Rizvi 2 years ago, right? They got him, they put him, and he delivered in the odd game. Unfortunately, the nature of the retention is such that they can't keep him, right? And then you'll say, okay, we've got 28 crores. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, I mean, because this is the talent which you don't know, right? You don't know how well it's going to do, right? It's this. I mean, some people get it right with a Suryavanshi or a Sai Sudarshan or these kind of players who come in at good prices and deliver over and above. And sometimes Mukul is another example, right? Somebody got it right. So you take a punt as a team, and I think that's fair. Everybody's taken punts, right? But some people get it right and some people don't. So SRH has got it right with Aniket, and they've now they're trying it with Salil. Let's see how it goes. So to blame that price point is probably just leaked auction strategy. I mean, somebody else knew that they wanted these two players. And
No, I think it was not about them knowing as well. I think it was just them completely fumbling it on the table and revealing their cards very, very easily, which was very, very easy for the rest of the teams to read. So that became their Achilles heel at the auction. So because they just went so badly and so all in for these guys that it was very obvious, it was very apparent that these were the only two. They weren't even scouted, right? Because everybody knew about these players. These weren't even like properly scouted players. So they just knew that these were the only two guys that these guys had in the kitty. So it was
I
just
like how
bad strategy all
Deepak
around.
is transitioned from a balcony to this thing to a cab, and is having flawless internet connection.
I think it's actually time for me to go now because things it's getting pretty dark out here. The internet connection may not last too long, but it's been a great time talking to you folks. I think you guys have enough to carry on right now.
Right. Thank you for
yeah,
joining us,
thank you
Deepak.
joining us, Deepak. We are 1 hour in, and guys, if you are still haven't subscribed to our stream, please go onto YouTube, go onto Cow Corner Dugout, and subscribe to our stream. And joining us every day we are at 11 o'clock at night. We are covering the IPL and giving our, which is specifically CSK and non-CSK fan opinions on various matches. Um, we have another game today, by the way, just in
Had
case
right. Yes.
we had another game, and that was the team, another team from the north invading south, but it was done
Yes.
in the north, done north of the Vindhyas. But so tell us about that game.
I
Did you
think
get a
I
chance
like
to
the
watch it?
way. Yes, I had a chance to watch it, and what really was surprising is the way Punjab started. Sorry, Sunrisers started. I say Punjab because Abhishek Sharma was playing, and he's a Punjab player. But Abhishek
Yeah.
Sharma, 74 of 28 balls. Travis Head coming and scoring at 160 strike rate. I think the way they were close to what 120 odd in 8 overs, and with
Yeah. So
that
today,
kind of a
Abhishek outdid
Abhishek outdid
Jay,
Travis
Jay,
in
Travis Sheikh outdid Jay Vanshi. Is that their
Priyansh and
no, no, Jaiswal and
Oh,
Suryavanshi.
Jaiswal and
Uh,
Suryavanshi. Okay,
what
okay,
what is
okay.
their couple name? Is it
I
Jay
don't
Vanshi
know.
or is it Suryaval? Or what is it? What does it become?
Jayvanshi looks more like a Bollywood
It
name, so I
sounds
think we should stick with
Bollywood.
that. Yeah.
Jay Vanshi. So Travis Sheikh outdid Jay Vanshi from yesterday, and as it turned out, now what do we call the couple name for Prab Simran and Priyansh? Prabhansh.
Pripra. Should we call it
Uh,
Pripra or is it like Primran?
Prabhansh.
Prabhansh. I don't know.
Prabhansh.
But
Whichever
yes,
sounds. Yeah.
I think
Okay,
both
carry
sound
on.
ugly. But so, but the way Sunrisers played, I was just surprised that the wickets sure might have slowed down, but I like the way some of their bowlers, were able to come and they were inspired change. Nobody expected Shashank Singh to come and bowl, and he actually kept things quiet. I think Shashank Singh came on to bowl uh, in the ninth over, and that is
In the
exactly sorry, sixth over, I think, no,
seventh over, he bowled the
seventh
seventh
over,
over,
and
gave
he came
six
on the ninth
runs,
over and took away, and yeah.
and ninth over took 2 wickets for 3 runs. So he was 2 wickets for 9 runs after they had been going at 17 and over. Two
Right,
wickets. So
and I don't think
yeah,
Shashank Singh had. I think he has apparently sent down 400 plus balls. I was reading an article by Shashank Kishore, on Cricket Info.
in IPL or in
In I
all
no, no, in
in
T20s, in T,
match.
and he's I think in the IPL. I think he has picked. He's
He
only
has
picked
picked,
up one wicket previously in the IPL.
which was
But
also Abhishek Sharma.
was it?
Yeah. So he's a
Oh,
Abhishek
okay.
Sharma is his bunny
Abhishek Sharma special. Oh, okay. So, but I think
last time.
apparently, as Shreyas Iyer has said, the move wasn't completely something that Shreyas Iyer took on instinct. Apparently, Shashank walked up to his captain and said, "Can I bowl?" And with batters going bonkers, I think Shreyas Iyer
Wow.
felt that okay, fine, I'll get a new bowler here. Maybe they're not used to seeing this guy bowl, so maybe let's take a gamble.
So my
And
respect for, based on that information, my respect for Shashank has gone through the roof, because this is a situation, 100 and 100 of 6 overs. If you are a bowler, you're hiding in the boundary, right? You
right,
don't want to be bowling then. So for a guy to come up and saying, "Give me the ball," is a very cinematically rich thing, like for lack of a better term, to do. Like it's a hero has entered. So yeah,
absolutely, and you're not even a proper bowler, so you know your limitations, and then you're trying to say I'm going to keep it at 120, and pitch the ball right in the middle, like short of good length, and then try to just keep it at 120, slightly slow, and you're just
yeah.
taking the pace off, and nothing else special. And just imagine these are the strongest scoring openers that are there, and these guys are in like the most purple patch ever. And you basically gone and stopped them. So I thought it was a brave move. Shashank ended up bowling 3 overs, and interestingly, Shashank Kishore is writing on Shashank Singh. So the piece that I saw earlier in the day. But yes, I think Sunrisers messed it up a bit.
So two things to Shashank's. I mean, this what you mentioned, I didn't get to know. Um, but there was James Hope was interviewed at one point of time while the match was on, and James, this was just after the second wicket had fallen, right? And he was on air.
Right.
In fact, he was on air for that wicket. So they asked him something about, was this a strategy or whatever. So he said, no, Shashank actually bowls once in a blue moon in the nets, right? So he
Ah,
actually
okay.
comes up and then Shashank was interviewed mid innings, and he said to the fact that whenever he said, see, the thing is that I know I can bowl, but I will only be bowling in a situation where everybody's gotten, because I'm not even the sixth bowler, I'm the seventh bowler, right? So
Right.
he said things have to be go horribly wrong for somebody to say Shashank bowl, right? So I only prepare for those situations. So I'm only preparing for when the batsman is going for me. So then there
Right.
some in my all my bowling practice is bowling, short of length, slower, outside the off stump, wide, let them chase the ball. No, give them no pace, let them make the pace and let them, uh, you know,
Right. I think that's very interesting. Nirvika, we're going to get back to you. We're just going to the. We've already gone to the other game. We just saw your comment, but we're going to come back and answer this when we finish the podcast. So right now, getting back to the earlier game that happened, SRH versus what
how
Punjab
good was
Kings.
Marco
I
Jansen's catch? Did you see that?
I saw
That
that one-handed catch the
one-handed
way
catch. Like,
it,
it
it
felt like
stuck.
he
And
was,
I was
because the first shot they had was fairly wide, and you saw this guy just flailing his arms, and I felt ki gaya chakka, he's just trying to do one of those things, and then the crowd went wild, which is another amazing thing. I think Punjab's fan base has turned, and they've finally got faith, after years of being. So it was a very very euphoric applause in the stadium because nobody in the stadium I think could believe that it literally plucked it out of thin air, right? That's
also
as
generally in that area or region, right?
yeah.
As a Chennai fan, when I'm watching a game in Chepauk, we're discussing certain things, or we're discussing why did this bowler run up in Dharamshala, which is almost like just outside
This is not
Punjab.
Dharamshala.
I know this is
This is
Mulanpur, but I'm saying
Mulanpur, sorry.
that area,
Oh.
North India, basically. As soon as a boundary is hit, people celebrate. People are dancing. People are jumping. People are not going to talk about, hey, why this bowler bowled. This matchup is not right. Because in
Hmm.
Chennai, they randomly come. Some stranger comes and gives me stats about Noor Ali Zadran and why he should bowl. Stranger, complete stranger sitting next to me. Punjab, it's different. They're dancing. Every boundary they're dancing. The crowd is very different there, and it's so nice to see the variety spread out in India. And as you were saying, the Marco Janssen catch was also the fact that when he caught it, right, the sun was against his face. It was a fairly difficult catch to to essentially go there and do. Looks like I've lost my voice. So yeah, I think that with all that, I think they had a very very bad last 14 overs, especially when they
Yeah,
were like
what was
120 odd.
Klassen did a Rituraj Gaikwad today almost, right? I mean, or rather, Rituraj Gaikwad then did a Klassen. He just
Klaasen,
what do you think it was a heat or something? It was a 3:30 game.
I don't think
Um,
Klaasen has been, performing that well for, Sunrisers. He
he
has
had he had
not
a
been
he
in
had a
this
good game earlier this week. He finished a game.
62. I know he scored 62 versus LSG, right? In that game that you're talking about. He scored a
Yeah.
50 at Eden Gardens too. But I think the first game versus RCB, he didn't look in the usual, Klaasen format that that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing these 200 odd strike rate games, but that wasn't quite the case today. Even in the RCB game, season opener, Klaasen played very slowly. But I think overall, I think SRH had a very underwhelming score, 99 of the last
Yeah,
12
because
overs.
yeah, Bartlett in the bowled 1 over in the power play went for 21, and
Came back
he
very well.
came back very well. He ended with 2 for 40 odd,
1 for
with
42.
just
So,
two
yeah,
for 40, 2 for 40,
2. Okay.
He took 2 wickets. Yeah. And 5 runs of the last over. So that was like a spectacular finish. And given the start that SRH had, which is 100 of 6 overs, they should have got to at least 140, you would imagine. Sorry, 240. I mean, you would imagine,
Easily.
right? And
I would think that if they scored 120 of 8, assuming I'm not accounting for the wicket to slow down or for their batting collapses, if they were going great guns the way they do, I would expect them to score easily about
irres-
250.
irrespective, 240 was the bare minimum, right? I mean, irrespective of what happens, you lose a couple of wickets while going for it and get caught in the boundary line or whatever, and even if you account for a couple of good balls, one good fielding effort, because
No, you would expect
240,
you would definitely expect that they didn't get there, and we saw that, right? Punjab chased it down in a canter.
yeah,
Like, Punjab
yeah.
also had a
So
start of like
240 would have
this was
been
100.
240 would have been enough to ensure that Punjab doesn't cross the line till the 20th over. Let's put it that way.
Right,
I
right.
don't think 240 was also safe, but I think 240 would have meant that Punjab chases it in the 20th over. rather than finishing it in the 18th or whatever. It was a canter in the end, and Shreyas was just, um, you know, I've gotten used to this kind of batting. Yeah. He did that the
Yeah, I
other day
think,
at
and now I
Chennai as
have that
well.
confidence with Punjab as a lineup because they were near flawless, except for the losses versus RCB last season. Punjab looked to be a team which was in control, and I like the fact that they have a certain standard, they have a certain DNA that they play under Ricky Ponting. That this is going all guns blazing. Priyansh Arya 57 of 20 balls, Prabh Simran 51 of 25.
Yeah, you
So
wouldn't
here,
think that these two guys will outdo what was done before, right? I mean, like
ex-
you thought like Suryavanshi and Jaiswal, really talked about opening pair, Abhishek and Travis Head, who've been doing it now for this is their third season. You didn't think that, because whatever said and done, these two are still relatively inexperienced domestic players, Priyansh Arya and
Fair, yeah, and
Prabh
given that
Simran.
he was spotted only in a Delhi Premier League, it's
East Delhi Premier.
remarkable that East Delhi Premier League, that's going down to one more level. I'm just happy that somebody like Ricky Ponting has been able to work with the talent that has been given, and they're able to make these guys feel so confident playing international quality bowlers. So that way, I think Punjab's looking completely the part. You would easily finish, want them in the top four, and so with RR. So we're having teams that are completely at a different end of the spectrum. And today, as a CSK fan, when I saw our team was like CSK was like 50 odd in 5 overs, 6 overs, I was like, guys, we're still an under par batting unit. As much as we've picked a side today, CSK was fairly stable, and that's what got them to 210, 12 for two. But luckily, yeah, there are times when just being stable helps. If the other time side is self-immolating,
I think
and CSK.
now, I mean, coming back to CSK point, I think now is the point where I think after today's result, and given that one by
Sure.
one, everybody except Rituraj has scored, got some runs, right?
Right.
You've had Sarfaraz get some runs, you've had Amatre get some runs, you've got Dubey get some runs. I think now they should be playing a little more fearlessly, and I think launch a little earlier. I felt that
Right.
Rituraj, didn't launch at all, but even Matre got stuck a bit, which eventually led to him being subbed out or whatever, retired out. So I
Right.
think I think they CSK, based on their start against CSK, should have got to 225, 230 as well.
They should
20,
have, and
they should have.
at that point,
Yeah.
I realized that we were going just at 10 and over, but I was just happy seeing them not self-immolate or have like a very very under par total, like the way they've played versus RR in the first game. But that said, now the question that Nirvikar had asked, since we are talking about CSK, what are your thoughts on Khalil? I think Khalil is getting hit, and as Nirav had also observed, as fans, we're not seeing him really swing the ball as much as say somebody like an Arshdeep. Even Arshdeep is not getting the ball to swing. Arshdeep is just starting to bowl so many wides. There was a very interesting stat on Twitter that uh, that was tweeted by the former Indian team analyst Himanish Ganju, where I think Arshdeep is bowling zero point 0.4 balls extra in an over, literally, because that's the amount of wides that are coming. So and he's actually seventh on the list of overall bowlers in the IPL who bowl longer overs because of extras that are conceded. But on Khalil, since
But
he's
he's
not
had a
getting swing,
last few months has been a little. Are these like too many whites? I mean, but there's been a
I
pattern with
think
Arshdeep, right? He's bowling
it's
10
been a
ball overs
pattern.
pretty much every time.
Yeah, and this is now getting to be a very noticed pattern because I'm seeing a lot of common people looking at Arshdeep and saying, यार ये इतना लंबा क्यों bowling कर रहा है? इतने wides क्यों आ रहे हैं? So uh, I think now I'm seeing this Arshdeep either is reacting to some kind of a trigger that the batter is giving, due to which Arshdeep is making some last minute changes, and as a result, he's not able to control it. So I'm just guessing, thinking that is there some trigger that the batter is doing specifically to Arshdeep, and I just probably need to watch it more closely to see what last minute triggers are happening and what is his ball position. Is he trying to do something different? We wouldn't know. I'm just waiting for one of the commentators to maybe go ask Arshdeep what's happening in his mind.
Okay, to coming back to Nirvikar's point, can we get
I think
Mukesh
Khalil,
in place of him? So
Mukesh,
Mukesh Chaudhary, he had a great
Mukesh
season.
Chaudhary,
Remember,
huh? 22,
let's see,
22.
22 was it? Yeah, with the other Simranjit Singh, right? What was it? There were two.
No, Simranjit came only in 24. I remember Simranjit played that game in 24.
So who? Okay, so 22. That's it, right? He didn't. he didn't. I didn't see him after in 23, or I don't
In
remember him
23,
from.
he was injured because I remember
Yeah.
watching the GT CSK final with Mukesh Chaudhary. He was there in the
Oh, okay.
presidential box lounge in Motera at the
Okay.
GCA. And yeah, he wasn't that season, he was injured. So, and after
So
that, CSK has got him. But yeah, he's
retained
not. I
and
don't know
got
the
him
amount of
again.
swing. He got the middle
He
stump
used to
out in
get.
a game versus
Yeah,
MI.
he seemed to be a good replacement for Deepak Chahar at that time,
Right,
because
right.
that's what
And
he
he's
was
getting the
doing. Well.
ball to swing. So I think it's a
Mm.
good point, but I don't know what is his current form in the nets or how does the management see him. CSK generally gives a long rope to some of the players that they have. So I'm feeling that Mukesh might not get a game right away. But in case Khalil is going to have one or two more bad games going at 12, 13 and over,
What
they might want to look at Mukesh if
I mean,
he is
I
considered to
would,
be fit enough to bowl.
even if they keep this same 11 or 12 or whatever, I would still like to see Anshul Kamboj get the new ball ahead of uh, Khalil. Because what ends up happening is Anshul is, I mean, a relatively slower bowler. He peaks at 130, I would
Right,
imagine. Um, what happens is, if he comes, by the time he comes in the fourth over, there is no swing possible, and then
right,
he's forced to bowl lengths which are not his natural skill lengths. He's
right,
essentially a red ball bowler, right? He needs to be bowling good length, top of off, swing it, and to the fourth stump, those kind of lines, right? And lengths. He today came in and he was told bowl short, right? He was, because he came in the power play, he was told bowl short of length. 6-4, 4-6 was happening from both sides. So because the boundaries aren't big enough for his pace, he's
right,
not going to get them to be mistiming with his pace. Uh, and even if they do, then they're going for fours. So I feel I would like to see him getting the new ball ahead of Khalil. I think still Khalil is a middle overs bowler.
right.
Cutters, slow balls can manage. Maybe they should try it and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think we've hit like 75 people on the stream. Thank you for watching and being on the live stream with us. We're also 66 minutes or 76 minutes into our show, and I'm right now feeling a little sleepy because I've had like a late night traveling all the way this morning from Chennai to Bangalore while the game is in Chennai. But yeah, that's where we are, and we again have a double header tomorrow. So we're going to come back around 11 p.m. where we review both the games and see what happened. Do you think you have the energy, Nirav, to do a preview of the games? Or how are you feeling?
I have to first remember what the games are. I don't have to remember. I have to ask my friend Google. Um, so I know that MI plays RCB. That's correct. That I know. That's what they were advertising. And the second game is
LSG and Gujarat
LSG versus
Titans.
GT. Um, yeah, so I think LSG GT are two fairly well matched teams. Both have learned how to choke at the end, um, or rather, get lucky with other teams choking at the end. So I don't know. LSG, big scoring ground. I mean, Lucknow. So pretty much we'll expect more of the same. I think teams which are, I think the long rope army group will be the most silent tomorrow afternoon. So I think least fans for LSG and GT on your group, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we can, yeah. So I'll probably catch up on a Saturday afternoon nap. I need to go and buy shoes. So I'm going to use tomorrow after lunch as an opportunity. Um, and yeah, the other game, MI and RCB, that should be a blockbuster. Again, fairly well matched teams. RCB obviously have found their 11, have found their mojo. MI hasn't. But Google predicts 54% probability of Mumbai Indians winning. And this could very well be win the toss and bat second and chase
Which is
220.
again the usual thing, right? So unless and until you have a bowling unit that suddenly is overperforming or is bowling like today, whatever
So,
happened was
yeah.
against the run of play. But yes,
So MI
it's a
has
toss.
by and large a decent bowling attack compared to RCB. RCB, if they play, they end up playing the last times 11, they don't really have a fifth bowler. So I mean, they got to Tim David bowling in the eighth over. So, and Krunal Pandya seems to be their bank somehow or the other. He's doing it now for 10 years. But I think, I mean, even if he delivers a 4 overs, 40 runs performance, they still are struggling for another 7 to 8 overs in any case, right? Because Bhovi and Hazelwood, at best, 4 good overs in the power play, at best. So I think MI will come harder because MI is see against reaching that point where they have a mixed bag of form. Enough players have got runs. Rohit has got runs. Rickleton has got runs. Hardik has got some runs. Surya has got some runs in one game or the other. Tilak is the only guy who's not performed yet, but he's too good to be.
I think, yeah, I feel MI will come hard because they've seen the way RR went hard at MI's bowling. Sorry,
And
RR went
RCB is
hard not just at
and
MI,
RC
also
and
also
RCB is
also
good.
against RCB. So both these teams are aware that once their bowling can be taken to shreds, the approach that is required is
Yeah,
basically look at Vaibhav Suryavanshi. You have the kind of
I,
openers, so can they basically up the tempo in the game? And
and
because otherwise, you just want to play out somebody like a Hazelwood or Bhuvneshwar Kumar and not really attack them, because that's why their power play was so good in 2025. So I think teams will now start to think that maybe they have a chance if they go early, hit early.
yeah,
I'm just waiting
just
to
hold
see.
off for the first 2 overs and then go for it. Let the swing finish.
So post Suryavanshi, I think when both these teams have played RR in Guwahati, I think they've been badly bruised a bit, and they're going to change their strategies a bit. Is probably what I think.
I would still say probably in Wankhede it will swing an over or two. So I would recommend both teams just let that first over go, see what's happening. Let that second over go because it'll either be Hazelwood or Bumrah bowling that second over, and then you know do your best. Keep your openers intact. Let them read. So because today also, if you see the Sunrisers 100 included 20 of 2 overs. It
Right.
they actually they actually played defensive shots in the first 2 overs. Um, and then and I think that's worthwhile, right? Because you can get 20. You there are enough 20-run overs in the power play. We've seen it in the last 2 days. At least two of every innings have been gone for 20 plus.
No,
So
no, absolutely. I think if you are willing to bide your time for those 4 or 5 balls where the swing is out, and then you're able to score those runs, it's a fairly prudent strategy to do. That said, 82 minutes into the conversation, 77 people on the stream. Thank you. If you're watching us on Twitter, please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're called Cow Corner Dugout. Some of our videos, short form, make it to our YouTube stream as well as to Instagram. Do subscribe to us, Cow Corner Dugout. We'll be back again tomorrow night, every night, 11 p.m. Till then, it's me and Nirav in red shirts signing off. See you around.